everyone. Hello.
Good morning.
Welcome to SPtv. Hello, Yitka.
Hello, good morning, Dawn. Hello, everyone.
Everyone, this is Yitka. She is a professional Feng Shui expert. And she'll be with us today telling us all about the science of Feng Shui. So, without further ado, shall we do a couple of little hellos, people that have come in? Who have we got? We've got Stacey Shaw. She says, good morning. Good morning, Stacey.
Good morning.
I'll let you do the next one when it comes in. No, nothing else yet. Oh, here we go. You can do the next one.
Oh, I can't see anyone yet. Oh, there it is. Christine Davis. Good morning, Dawn. She's saying, good morning, Christine.
Good morning. We have Amanda. Good morning, Amanda. Welcome to SPtv. Sorry, they'll come in soon. They'll come in soon. Ah. We have...
coming soon, yeah.
You can see it? Yeah?
Not yet.
Okay, here we go. You can still be able to see it now.
Okay, lovely. Oh, Keith Bernard, good morning. Hope you are all well. We are. Thank you very much, Keith. Hello.
We have Bernadette Connolly. She says, hello. Hello to you too.
Good morning to everyone.
With our next one.
Okay, not coming through yet.
We have Christine Davies. She's not on the screen yet, but...
Oh, there is Emily. Emily Edward is saying good morning as well. Hello, Emily.
Hi, Emily. We have Amanda. Hi, Stacey and Christine.
And Millie B. Morning, Dawn and guest. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Amanda McDade. Hello.
And we have Sandra Buchanan as well. How do you see anything for me, please? Okay. There is a first request there.
Okay, Sandra Buchanan.
Okay.
Morning, everybody. Just Richard here. I've just got to quickly tell the ladies, please keep an eye on the private chat.
Okay,
Okay.
Right. We have Alison Barton. Good morning. Good morning. Because they're not coming up on my screen, so I'm just going to read them from the side. Otherwise, we won't be here seeing anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have Alison Barton that is also saying good morning, Dawn and Yitka. Just popped on to say hello.
Okay.
Perfect.
Karam Shazad, I think that is. Hi, ma'am. Hello. Bless you.
Hello. And we also have Julie Ramsden saying morning. Morning, Julie.
Okay. We have Tish Pollock. Good morning, Tish.
Okay, I don't see anyone else on the screen. Oh, there it is, Gracie Trapani, if that's correct. Hello, all.
Hello. Lovely. Yes, we have Gracie. Oh, that's the same one, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I'm going to have to read from the ones that I can see on the side because we'll do a couple more and then we'll make a start. Okay. Selena Muscat. Hi, do you have any love messages for me? Oh my goodness, love messages. Joanne Lewis. Hi, Joanne Lewis. Lovely. Okay.
Okay, and I see Amanda Hyde asking any messages for me.
That's her first time watching.
Lovely. Hello, then.
Hope you enjoy the show, Amanda. Okay. I think that's all of them, Richard. Okie dokie. So let me introduce you to Yitka Fernandez Lopez. And can you tell us a little bit about where you studied, for it to start with, to become a practitioner?
Yes, of course, Dawn. So good morning, everybody, once again. I've studied Feng Shui under the European College of Feng Shui. It was a 2 years course, certified by diploma at the end. And it covered 3 major schools that are kind of the oldest ones, but also the most popular ones. So it was quite an intense study with a lot of on-site practice and experience and clients consultations.
Wonderful.
I can definitely recommend to anyone who might be interested.
Fantastic, fantastic. And how did you come into Feng Shui? How did that come about?
Good question and a very long story. So my background is actually clinical. I worked in a hospital, and that basically means I was always interested in how to help people and how to, help them throughout the difficult parts of their life. And I just realized that from the perspective of a clinician, there is very little you can do for people because it only covers most of the physical health. So I was looking at other options. What can I do? How can I address other problems that people might have? And I found out that the one thing that connects us all is our environment. Because it doesn't matter whether you live in the southern hemisphere or northern hemisphere, if you live in a small apartment or in a castle, we are always surrounded by some kind of environment, and that's exactly what the Feng Shui deals with. It looks at our environment, it puts the person living in it in its center, and it looks at influence and also in the mutual interaction between the building and between the people or person living in it. And that's how I come about it.
Well, that's fascinating. So you've always wanted to heal and to help. So that's that's been your driving force. Wonderful. So where and when did Feng Shui begin? How did that all start about? Do you have a little potted small history?
Little bit of small history. Okay, so Feng Shui is really quite an old teaching. It comes from China, and there is some guess that probably started about 3,000 years ago. Wow. The first written texts are documented from about 2,000 years ago. So as you can see, it's really, really old. It picked up and it had kind of a golden age in the Yin dynasty, and it then was actually kept secret for a really long time, just amongst the very secluded part of society. And then, of course, over the time, it slowly was discovered to other people, and it was kind of slowly evolving and also getting into the Europe and the rest of the world.
Wow, that's fascinating. It's amazing to know that it's got such a rich history.
Absolutely, yes. It really has undertaken quite a long journey of development because, originally, if you think about the life of us as human beings 2,000 years ago, our environment was very different to the one we know now. And our society was very different, the way of thinking, way of living. So actually, Feng Shui all came from observations of the environment and trying to figure out why some people or some towns or some settlements are doing better than others. So people kind of observe that there are some similarities in those settlements where people are doing better and those who are not doing that well. And when people observed that, they started to write it down and they started to put together little principles. And they realized that all these settlements have those one things in common, is those few things that the environment needs in order to help people to thrive.
That's fascinating. Fascinating. So it is it is a science. It's not just a spiritual. It's a science.
It is actually, yes. There's quite a lot of mathematics and physics in Feng Shui because as it was developing, it came from kind of studying of geography and the nature. It brought then into it also astrology and understanding movements of the stellar bodies and how they influence the life on planet Earth. There's a little bit of metaphysics in it as well. There's quite a lot of art, because it's also about how you then put all this knowledge together and make it nice for the human being. And of course, there is that little bit of superstition because we were not really able to translate all the knowledge, and a lot of that was passed on only verbally throughout the generations. So there is that tiny bit that we can't really understand. Combination of a lot of things.
So is this something that you have to be a professional to be able to dip into it? Or is there a few things that people can do at home, at this moment now?
Yeah, I think it depends how far you want to take it, really. If you are thinking of becoming a professional and doing official analysis and Feng Shui projects for other people, I would definitely recommend studying it because there is so much to it. And it's not something that you can really kind of teach yourself. I know there are a lot of different applications you can these days buy, but to be honest with you, they are quite shallow. They barely touch the true principles of Feng Shui. If you are thinking just you are a person who has a home and you would like to do something to really get the energies right and the chi right and really extract the maximum potential of your own home, then there are definitely some tips you can do without actually needing to study it. There are quite a few things.
Wonderful. So, I mean, I know I like to move my crystals around at home and things, and it's sort of an intuitive thing.
Mm-hmm.
But this being that it's a little intuitive, but it's also a science. So I find that really fascinating.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's intuitive partially because when the Feng Shui was developing in early days, again, think of a life 2000 years ago, it was mostly about survival. So thinking about how do we protect ourselves as human beings in this vast nature and vast environment, and how do we protect our families as well? How do we protect our health, So yes, it can be intuitive. And I think that actually these days, from my experience with clients, when you sometimes suggest, oh, maybe I would move some things around here. And they go, oh, yeah, I did think about doing that. But I wasn't sure if it's the right thing. So actually, you can see that there is still that intuition of that protectiveness of your own environment. It's just, I think we are so strongly under the influence of modern age that we are kind of slightly losing that perspective.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a big part of it is a science. Yeah.
That's amazing. Amazing. Is there any questions coming in from anybody? Anybody at the moment? Here we are. Stacey Shaw, she's asking, where did Feng Shui originate? You've just asked that. And is it similar to yin yang, as in restoring?
Yes. So Feng Shui did originate from China. As mentioned before, yin and yang is really, really important part of Feng Shui, actually. It's all about the balance, and it's all about things needs to be in a mutual interaction in order to create something beautiful and to make things work. And our dearest teacher in the Feng Shui college, he always said it's kind of like a male and female. To create something beautiful, to create a baby, you need two people involved in it. And yin and yang is a very much similar concept. To make something alive and help people, you can't have one or the other. So yes, definitely restoring balance, restoring that harmony is a big part of the Feng Shui. Positive and negative. These are quite specific words, which Feng Shui doesn't quite see things as positive and negative in the sense of something being only good and something being only bad. Because when you think of the yin and yang symbol, you've got the black part, which is your yin with the tiny bit. Yeah, exactly. They are kind of like interlocked. The other part, the white part, which is the yang, also have a little bit of yin. So the way Chinese think about Feng Shui is actually different to our European way of thinking. We think a lot in analytic way, while they have more of a correlative way of thinking. And I think sometimes for us Europeans, that can be quite difficult to grasp. So they don't see things purely as positive and negative. They are more looking at things as auspicious and inauspicious, and then how to make them work together to make it good for the person.
I think that's a much more healing way of thinking, isn't it? Rather than seeing bad and good. You see a little bit of good in the bad and a little bit of bad. So that's a much more healing way of thinking.
Yes, it's having that life balance as well.
That was excellently explained. Thank you, Trey. Thank you, Stacey Shaw, for your message. Keith Barnard Abbott, he's put, does the body have a Feng Shui way of working too? That's an interesting question.
Yeah, absolutely. It does, actually. So there are several ways you can look at this. our bodies, whether we are in a male or female body, we always have a bit of the other part. And again, just like the yin and yang symbol, our bodies or our personalities, I would say, every person has something like a personal number, you could say. Just like the European astrology, you can calculate your personal number based on the year you were born in. Chinese do the same, but they have it based on slightly different principles. And they allocate your personal number to an element. So the way the Feng Shui works in that way with your body or with your personality is that every element is represented by other things, such as, for example, what maybe illnesses you might be prone to, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses. So you can actually use Feng Shui to strengthen or encourage or even, weaken things in yourself, in your personality, or in your physical health and mental health by using actually those elements and bringing them in balance again. So yes, absolutely. And there are different body organs as well that have allocated that kind of yin and yang balance. So yes, there's so much to it, and I think it's quite impressive.
Yeah.
Holistic science.
I'm impressed. I knew very little about it. Other than I think the only thing I was ever really told, I remember my nan saying to me, never sleep with your feet at the end of the bed towards the door.
Okay.
Because that's the only way you're going to be taken out is in a coffin, and you'll be in a coffin from the door. And that's why I was told to always put your head against the door, not your feet. Does that make sense to you? Is that something?
I understand where it comes from, but that's not exactly Feng Shui.
Sorry, Nan.
So let me rewind a little bit on that before I answer exactly that kind of comment. When I started to be interested in Feng Shui, it's like 10 years ago, and I tried with a little bit of self-learning, then I did a little bit of like these free online courses, and it wasn't until I actually did get to study properly with the Feng Shui European College that I realized how many misconceptions are out there and how many false informations are online as well.
Right.
And one of the most common things is one of those like, oh, never have mirrors in the bedroom, or you can't sleep with your feet or head towards something, or you should never sleep towards north and south. The reality is that the feet against the door, again, it comes from the very old, simply protective environment thing, and from practical perspective as well. If you picture yourself in your bedroom and imagine your bed is directly facing the door, depending on the practicality of your household, you live with children, do you share the house, or is it just you and your partner living there? It might not be the most practical thing if people want to walk into your bedroom or children rushed in, and you might not be appropriately covered and literally just walk onto you in the bed sleeping. But in terms of the exact directions, it really is up to the calculating your environment and see what you as a person is really mostly benefiting from particular direction or location. And the feed directly or head directly, either or, to any entry, it's just, again, comes from that protectiveness of ourselves from the long...
It's a safety thing.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. It's just kind of being somewhere rather protected and having control of your environment, so you can visually overlook, your doorways, your windows, and there's no one to attack you from the back, rather than being directly exposed. And the other thing that comes from it is also something called rushing qi. So the qi is basically a potential of an environment or a matter to become while remaining in its material state. So it's what you can do, what you can achieve with what you've got, in other words. And that has its own kind of flow. And I suppose this is the superficial part, or this is the energetical part of the Feng Shui, where you want that flow to be correct. And if you are directly in its way, it might not always be beneficial to you.
I understand.
So where the feet and the door comes from.
I understand. Keith Burnt, thank you so much for that. Keith has also put, so it's bespoke to each individual. So the 5 elements bring about balance within the materials that surround us. So it's not just physical things, it's bodily things too.
Yes, yes, exactly, pretty much. It is bespoke to individual person, because There is something called Sankai principle, and it basically looks at the balance of three major aspects. One is called Earth Chi, and that means we all live on planet Earth. We can't escape it as human beings, and it has influence on us. And depending on your environment, so let's say in bigger scales, that would be whether you live in the mountains or forest or by the sea or river, where your south and north is, and a small perspective, how your building sits in the actual environment, where is the road, where is the access road, where is your garage, that kind of things. Then it looks at something called Heaven Chi, and that is looking at this influence of seasons, influence of the sunrise and sunset, influence of stellar bodies. And then it's you, called Human Chi, and you're right in the middle of that, and it's looking what influence it has on you as a human being. And that also looks at things like, what are your desires? What are your concerns? Where you are in your life as a being. And it brings it all together. So it is individual because every single person will have all these aspects slightly different. So to the first part of Keith's question, yes, absolutely. And the 5 elements, yes, they are something that we use to bring that balance, because as I said, a lot of things comes down to elements, and those 5 elements have 6 different relationships between them. So we look in what relationship they are mutually, and if they are fighting or they are not happy together or they are too controlling, we can bring other elements to balance them out.
I think this is so interesting. It's something that you can definitely do. I mean, obviously you need a proper practitioner to get really properly into it, but to have a little go at moving things around intuitively as well, when you think maybe that, that vase of flowers belongs better there, and things like that, it could help with the flow of energy by the sounds of it.
It could, yes. I think from intuitive perspective, probably the best thing to do, it's intuitive, but it's also practical. It's one of the big things is a clutter. So when you are looking in your house and you think, oh, let's do some Feng Shui here, always start with that, make sure that you feel comfortable in your house, that you don't have too many things around, or they are kind of neatly tucked somewhere in the space, that they are not actually intruding into the space, and disturbing that feeling of the atmosphere of your space and the chi. The other thing that probably you could do is, when you look at the locations of your furniture, and this comes from something called Form School, so it's very practical, it's a very efficient school. Look at when you walk to any room, stand at the doorway and look at your kind of commuting paths, where you mostly walk through the rest of the house, the rest of the rooms, and where you have any visual connection, like windows or maybe balcony doors, maybe walking through to the terrace. So these pathways should always stay obstacle-free. Yeah, there should not be any furniture, any fridges, anything like that. So nothing that you kind of have to walk around and find your way. That should be completely free.
So once again, it's a safety thing. So it does make sense. Sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's quite, in a way, if you think about it intuitively, you probably wouldn't do that anyway, would you? Because it just simply doesn't feel right.
Exactly. Well, thank you for that. Richard, if it's all right with you, I've got a gentleman starting to come in with me. So I'll get on with that if no one's else got any questions at the moment. Any other questions before I do that? Okay. Can it help cure long-term illnesses? May sound silly. No question is silly.
No, absolutely not a silly question. And it is a good question. Feng Shui is not, unfortunately, either diagnostics or a cure. So when it comes to physical health or even mental health, what it can do is to actually support that person in a recovery. Or if that person is undergoing a treatment for long-term illness, it can actually help to recover better or faster. It's not a cure in itself, but there are things that can be worked on from elemental perspective to address that and make a specific place for that person really supportive, so that person, while remaining in that environment, can recover better and really pick up this chi and pick up these energies. Yeah.
Wonderful. Anything else? Any other questions before I start? If Millie B, she's put, if you have Buddha ornaments in your home and dream catchers, does this bring positive energy? I, for one, have plenty of those.
Yes, they are very nice items, I have to say, and they do have a place in Feng Shui. It does a little bit depend how many you have and where you place them. Again, I would have to look specifically on that individual home and individual person to calculate what would be the best place for those objects. However, speaking from general kind of experience, general perspective, they are good to place them, especially when it comes to Buddha ornaments. If you have like a little quiet place at home where you might like to meditate, maybe it works like a little altar, maybe it's something where you just come to kind of contemplate upon, difficult day, just quite a dedicated place. It's a good place for this object. And dream catchers, obviously, bedroom is probably a good one to be. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. That's a very good question. I have a little, I suppose I didn't really think of them as altars, but I started having lots of Buddhas around, and I put them in places that to me seem peaceful places around my home. So once again, it's science, but also intuitive, but just instinctive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Garden actually can be a good place as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If I had one, I would. Okay. Any more questions before we go into the readings? We all good? Right. Okay. I think we're going to start some readings, if that's all right with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Right. I'm going to start by telling you the spirit I have coming through, and then we'll see if you just put up a little, put your hand up. Let me know if this person makes sense to you. Okay. And then we'll come back to Yitka a little bit later for all your burning questions. Okay. Okay. I have a gentle with me, a gentleman with me. Now, the fact that I just said gentle by accident explains to me that he must have been quite a gentle man as well. He's coming in, and his cheek feels like it's sort of falling down, like I've had some kind of stroke, maybe something wrong with the side of the face. Okay. I've got some pain in my mouth as well around here, some pain in the jawbone as well. So does this gentleman start to make any sense to me? I've also got glasses on, and these glasses are quite sort of they're quite prominent. They're quite thick, quite dark glasses. And I feel I am a grandfather. So where are we? Anybody connecting at the moment with any of this information? No, not at the moment. Not yet. Okay, I'll continue to work. Okay. Yeah, I'm a grandfather, and I believe I want to connect with granddaughter. Okay. Let's bring this person a little closer. Okay, come a bit closer for me. Okay. The name Edward comes up to me. The name Edward. And I've just noticed that I have Emily Edwards up in the chat, up in there as well. So yeah, the name Edward comes to me. And I feel with this gentleman, it wouldn't have been a long suffering. Gosh, this pain I've got in my jaw, it wouldn't have been a long suffering, a long passing. And he would have been quite a hardworking man in his life. And he was a quiet gentleman. He was a gentleman. How are we doing? Anybody take this at the moment? Anybody understand who this gentleman is? No? So we have my dad was sudden. Emily Edwards. Okay. Can we bring Emily Edwards up on the screen, please, Richard? Right. Okay. So the name of Edwards, we got the surname of Edwards. Okay. Emily, would you understand? Thank you for working with me. Are you happy to work with me, Emily? I'll take that as a yes. Emily, would you understand that your dad's face, he had some problem with the side of his face, and that he was a gentleman, and he worked very hard in his life. And his passing, it was a sudden passing. Would you understand the face? It could have been like a stroke I feel I've had, but I feel my face almost went down on the side. Let me know if you can understand any of this information, please, Emily. Emily. If it's a no, please say no, and I can get more clarification. But if you can understand, please answer us. I know there's a delay, isn't there, Richard? Okay, carry on working. Okay. Right. Okay. I also have my stomach is starting to hurt quite a bit now. So I know that my stomach would have been a problem towards it's not coming up on the screen, but it says on, well, I can see down here, Richard, that it says, yes, very hard, had few teeth lost. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Emily. Okay. The stomach is coming up quite, I feel very dizzy all of a sudden and hot as well. Oh, dear me. Okay. Heat normally to me means some kind of infection passing through the body. Okay. Oh gosh, I feel quite lightheaded as well with your dad. Oh my goodness me. Okay. Would you understand the lightheadedness? And he's talking to me about his grandchild. So nothing coming through yet. Nothing coming through yet. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. He's showing me a heat coming over him, so I know that this would have been some sort of infection going through his body, and it's affecting his stomach, not just the loss of teeth and everything, but the stomach as well. Okay, so he had the cancer and he had 8 grandchildren. Goodness me. That's wonderful. Thank you, Emily. Wonderful. So that's why he's talking about the grandchildren. They're a hugely important part in his life. And I was about to joke with him and say in your death, but he's saying no, in my life. Because he although he liked to joke, he was very serious. He was very serious about his feelings. He was very serious, and he was very dedicated to his family. Okay. He would have I'm feeling now that this thing in my stomach is going up into my throat, and it's passing all around my stomach now. So I feel all around the body, sorry. So I feel this would have been a problem that would have kind of spread throughout the body into, as you say, into the lungs. And I have a metallic taste in my throat as well. Would you understand all this as being part of his illness? Oh, goodness me. I'm just going to have a drink to try and take that away. Okay. I'll wait for you to come through with a bit more. But while I wait, anyway, we'll carry on. Excuse me. This is all from him. It's nothing to do with me. There were his world were dedicated to family. Yes, very much so. Thank you, Emily. Thank you for coming through with that. That's lovely evidence for me. Thank you. He's saying I can see what was left of his teeth. I feel like I may have been I don't know if it's because of the chest, but it feels like I'm a smoker. Okay. I want to say he's putting an awful lot of green around himself and around you as well. So there's a huge connection to a love of nature. Okay. And about being outdoors. Okay. Yes, right. Thank you very much. Lovely. So, oh my gosh, he's gonna have to take this away. Sorry. I'm going to say one thing now at the moment. He's talking about a lady in the family that suffered with breast cancer. Okay. And he's saying this will be a little bit of information for you. Okay. Because I do have some pain in the area of my chest, in my breast. And he's saying that this is something that you would have been you'll be thinking about in the family. Okay. No, it's not a worry. I'm not putting worries on you. I'm just saying this is something in the family. Okay. He's talking about as well that Edward would be a name as well, not just Edwards, but Edward would be a name as well. Okay. That goes in the family. Yes. Okay. So let me know if the breast cancer comes through for you, because he's saying that that would be an important part of the. Yes, myself. Oh, God bless you, Emily. God bless you. God bless you. Oh dear. When it comes close like this, it can be quite emotive, not just for, obviously it's emotive for you, but it's incredibly emotive for me as well to be able to make that connection. God bless you, Emily. Okay, I'm gonna oh, he's sending his deepest love to you. Okay, and he's putting his arms around you. Okay, he's also, I personally, I don't know what you believe, but I believe in angels. I don't believe of them in the sense that they have huge wings. I think that was a pre-Raphaelite kind of artist's image of them, as a way of trying to find out how can we show you them flying, you know. But because earthly feet and legs aren't ethereal enough, are they? But he's showing me you having wings and lots of sparkly glitter, gold glitter falling down through these wings. So I know that you are an incredibly selfless, loving, giving person. Okay. And he is really applauding you for that. Okay. He's saying that's a huge, huge part of your life is to give. Okay. And I want to give you a poinsettia. I know it's a Christmas flower, but he wants to give you a poinsettia. Okay, and give you his deepest love. I hope that's given you some kind of peace. Just take his love and take the poinsettia and know that his love is always with you. Thank you so much, Emily, for working with me. God bless you. Thank you. Sometimes I come so close that I'm like, I'm not going to cry. It's okay.
I know, I got really emotional as well. Oh, goodness.
Oh, dear. Well, we have another question coming in from Michael John. And he's asking you, Yitka, this is very interesting. My mum has always said an uncluttered home is an uncluttered mind. Very good.
That's a very nice saying. Yes, it's pretty much true, actually. And that reminds me, I had clients whose, so there was a husband and a wife, and the wife used to suffer really bad migraines. And I looked at their house and I thought, you know, there are things that might not be exactly your taste, but actually overall, I just couldn't see the difference until I looked into the loft. Right. And there was just everything. And not even organized, just literally everything dumped as it wasn't needed. And it was right above their heads, of course, as a loft space. So clearly she was more sensitive to that energy than he was. And she was the one who suffered the migraines. So yes, I think your mum was definitely right about the clutter.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yes,
all that weighing down on your head.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect sense. She, like you say, she's very sensitive.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, you know, sometimes, as we said, things are still intuitive, and sometimes we just pick up on these subtle energies as well.
Absolutely. Stacey Shaw. Hello, Stacey. Oh, cute doggy. She's put, my gran used to say, always face the pillowcase open end. My nan used to say that to me as well, inwards. And that's is that a Feng Shui thing? Always have the pillowcase facing inwards. Is that a Feng Shui thing?
Okay, that's interesting. I have to say, I have the same habit, but I don't think it's actually a Feng Shui. I think it must come from some kind of other, you know, habits or sayings from the past. It's interesting. Might be just something like a practical or aesthetical in the bedroom.
It sounds practical, sort of aesthetic, nicer, doesn't it? To show the opening towards the wall as opposed to inwards.
Exactly. And I think that actually, if you do look at this habit from Feng Shui perspective, aesthetics is part of it in a way. It's making our environment, you know, prettier, nicer. So yeah, why not? It definitely can be.
Yeah. I guess all these sayings must stem from somewhere, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. She's also put, does Yitka get inspiration from spirit when advising people on Feng Shui in the home, or is it purely science?
Okay, that's a tricky question.
Start the intuitive aspect. There's spirit advising you.
So if I was to answer very strictly based on what I studied. I would say it is pretty much the science, but it is also about really tuning into people and understanding people. Because quite often what you do when you do Feng Shui analysis for anyone, you don't just end up analyzing their home and doing some calculations. You actually really are trying to understand the interactions within the family, within the family members, and what is that underlying reason why they really called you in. And quite often there is much more to it than what people actually say. Like they might say, oh, we want to bring more wealth and money, or business is not doing well. But actually, as you start looking into the things, there is usually a bit more into it. There might be a bit more disharmony.
Why is it not doing well?
Yes, exactly. Why is it not doing well? Quite often relationship comes into it, maybe, lack of support between the couple and things like that. So there is a lot of science. The science is a big part of a Feng Shui, but when I work myself as a Feng Shui consultant, I do kind of try to understand people and tune into the people actually, to have that extra insight, because I think I just can do better job if you understand the human beings than just looking at the numbers. And then I think Stacey's part of the question, if I get inspiration from spirit. I wouldn't quite say spirit itself. I would just get a genuine feeling, intuitive feeling about the home and kind of the people's desires and wishes and concerns. I do in my other free time. I'm actually a card reader as well, but I'm really trying hard not to mix those two professions because they really are quite different. But at the same time, I think having that understanding about the spiritual work can sometimes help you even with the scientific work. So yeah. That's sorry.
That's good. Right, I have one more question, and then I will do another another reading. Keith Barnard, he's put, are mirrors important to Feng Shui?
Yes, also a good question. Mirrors in Feng Shui is not something that was included in the original Feng Shui, because at the time there was no glass yet invented and there were no mirrors. So the original origins of Feng Shui did not have concept of those. As obviously our society has evolved and new things were developed and mirrors and glass came in place, the Chinese believe that mirrors definitely have their part in Feng Shui. They are important. There are specific places where you would want them. And the main idea is that you want mirrors to reflect some kind of nature or a beauty that is in your home or a garden. So you want to position them somewhere where perhaps they might reflect an artwork on your wall, perhaps they might reflect a view to the garden on a beautiful tree or flowers. You wouldn't place them somewhere where you will reflect, for example, a toilet or yourself snoring in the bed, or a messy kitchen sink, that kind of things. You want them somewhere where they enhance your environment. That is digital
beauty.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So definitely, yeah.
Fascinating.
I'm just going to come in, sorry, but I've got a question. It's been on my mind. When you start to...
If you look in the mirror, Richard, it will reflect your beauty.
You got me now thinking. What if, for example, let's say I wanted my home, garden, whatever, changed. Could I send you a photograph?
Ooh.
And then you could look at it and go, okay, you've got the sofa in the wrong area, you've got the chair in this area, just by looking at a photograph? Or do you physically have to be there to feel the energy?
So it is always better to be there to feel the energy, as you said, and you always understand the space better if you are there with the people using the space. So of course, it's always the better option. But let's be honest, we live in the digital world, and I work with the clients from Spain and from Czech Republic, so I don't always visit physically the clients. And the great thing about digital technology is that a part of sending picture, you can also take me on a digital tour. So you just literally take your phone with the camera and you can walk with me through your space, so I can understand a little bit more how you actually use the space and see it a little bit more in 3D. I can use something called Form School, which works purely with the physical arrangement of your space. So to answer your question, yes, I can look at the garden or a particular room and tell you where, from this perspective only, would be the best arrangement of your furniture. Yeah, absolutely. This school will not, however, work on elemental level, because that's more about looking deeper and doing the calculations and looking into the human beings, really. But from Form School, I can absolutely help with better arrangements of the furniture that might work better with the space and allow that chi flow.
So does that work externally as well? Like for gardens and so forth?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Remember, Feng Shui did come from actually the external environment first, before we had any kind of dwellings as such. So yes, absolutely. It still works with it. Gardens, landscaping, anything like that.
Thank you.
That was interesting. Okay. Right. Let's get back into the readings. Right. Whew. Okay. I have an elderly lady with me, and she is making me very, very, very bent across the back of the shoulders. So I'm like this. I can barely really lift my head. Oh dear. And I'm starting to bend over so much that I'm sort of like this all the time, really. I don't feel I was bedbound, but I do feel I was pretty immobile because of it. I spent a lot of my life, the end of my life being like this and walking around like this and having to put up with it. But then it did get to the point in the end where it was so painful and so encompassing that I couldn't deal with that anymore. I also had problems with my hands as well. My hands were always freezing cold, and very sort of kind of gnarled up a lot. I've also got the name of June coming through as well. June, whether that's her or that's you that I have here. Let me just go into the chat so I can have this. Okay. No, nothing yet. Okay. Whoops. Okay. She feels she's very cold, not just her hands, but the rest of her body is cold as well. And she used to hold your hands and say to you, she used to remark on your hands, on the temperature of your hands. She'd go, "Oh," and hold your hands as well. And the name Iris just came in as well. Iris, whether that's back in the family a little bit though, I think Iris. Let me just see if anybody comes in with that. And there should be. She's talking about a little girl, a baby girl as well that was born. Okay. Stacey Shaw, I've got here. Sounds like my gran. She had curvature of the spine at the top. She also had problems with blood circulation. Right, lovely. Stacey, can I work with you, my darling? Okay. Let's bring her a bit closer. Right. Okay. She's making me sort of want to go off on a tangent. Like I would start a conversation and then I'd go a bit kind of vacant, and then somebody would have to remind me of what I was talking about. So there is some sort of oh, bless you, Stacey. So there was some kind of memory, not memory loss from the past, but she would forget her memory at the present memories. Okay. She's also, she's mentioning the child again. She's mentioning a baby girl. Yes, she was like that towards the end. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. But you were always, in that you were always kind of afraid of offending her by trying to remind her of what she was talking about. So you would try to almost sort of diffuse the situation and move on to something else as not to upset her. To begin with, she used to kind of make a joke out of it, and say, "Oh," and talk about it like that and try and gloss over it. But it did kind of, what's this? My youngest was born after her death. Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much for that confirmation. She's saying that even though it was after her death, she's saying that she held the child. Okay. So before the child was born, she held the baby. So she held the baby in spirit. Also, a baby girl on the way would be her great-granddaughter. Wonderful, wonderful. God bless. You put that. Yeah, also a baby girl on the way would be her great-granddaughter. Wonderful, wonderful. So she's showing me all these baby clothes, these pink girl baby clothes. Okay. Oh, she just put a pink baby dummy up on the screen as well. I I didn't give my kids baby dummies because I thought to myself, I'm not going to have to put up with the pain of getting rid of the dummy in the end, you know. But she wants to give you dummy, and she's putting on the end of the dummy. She said we would put a bit of honey on the end of the dummy. I'm not saying you should do that, but that's what she's saying. Okay. She's also, there must be a female name that goes through the family that she's proud of as well. And she brings through the name. She hated dummies. I hate dummies. But she's saying to you about putting a bit of honey on the end of it. But she hated dummies. That's a comment. That's a bit of a laughter thing we have for it coming through. A bit of a nice bit of comedy. Okay. She's saying to me that you need a bit of, I can taste mints. I can taste like the Murray mints. If I breathe in, I can taste the mints. And she's saying to you that you need a little bit more sweetness in your life. It's okay to treat yourself, she says. It's okay to treat yourself. Okay. Right. I know it's not coming up on the screen as quickly, but in my private chat, I can see that she's put, yes, there is a family name, that female family that runs through. Maybe I need sweetening up. Bless you. It's the strong flavour of okay. She always had mints, yeah. It's this strong. Even when I breathe in, I can taste. It's like that, And she would always. I feel like she would always give you sweets. Always give you sweets. Okay. Right. I can see magazines all over the place, like women's weeklies and things like that. So I feel that she always would have had books and magazines around her, more so than books. And if there was books, it would be a romance. Okay. Okay. Oh, just as one last thing, I can see the word. It sounds like Heartland, or another word that I recognise this is not coming from spirit, but another word I recognise is Hartlepool. So it's got like a Heartland, Hartley something written in the name. Okay, if that would make any sense to you. Have a little think about that for us for a moment. Okay. And I'll just bring she's giving you roses. Okay. She's giving you some beautiful, beautiful red roses. She loves her Reader's Digest and Woman's Weekly. Lovely. That's wonderful. Okay. What was I saying? Sorry, I've lost my train of thought. Sorry, I'm going to bring her a bit closer and she can remind me. She's giving you a cup of tea. I know all women like a cup of tea, but she wants to sit you down with a cup of tea. You need a chat. She was originally a Geordie. Right. Okay. So there must be a name out there that gives you hearty something. Okay. If you've got a bit of chance of time, if you want, Google the name. But it's being a Geordie, she would love to sit down, have a good chat, and that's what she wants with you. If we were there now, she said you can chat. Right. Okay. She's telling me to shut up. She said that you can chat with her now. Okay. You can chat with her now. Sit down. She's saying to me, you sit down with a cup of tea and you talk to her. Okay. And she'll be having a cup of tea with you. Share your feelings, share your problems, have a good natter. I was going to say chat. Her words are natter. Okay. Your kettle's never off. Lovely. So you would have a nice natter with her. And she's giving you these beautiful, beautiful roses. Okay. And I feel that you would have given her roses, whether it was at her funeral, but you've given her roses. Okay. So she wants to give you roses back. Okay. And I've even got red ribbons as well. Oh, you're struggling a lot. Like, bless you. Like I say, sit and have a chat with her. Okay. The job of a medium, people think a medium is a be all and end all. It's really not. The job of a medium is to open the floodgates for the conversation that you have with your loved one. The rest of it is you and your loved one sit down together and talk whenever you want. All it is just a start. A medium is just a starting point for you. Okay. Tell her your problems. Let her take the load off for you. Thank you so. Oh, what's this? Oh my God, I just did a baby hamper with my daughter and she had a red ribbon. Beautiful. So she's letting you know that she is around you, my darling. Please take her love. Take it always. God bless you. Thank you for listening to me. Wonderful. I know we're coming up to time, but let's see. Is there any where can we find you, Yitka? Where can we find you, my darling?
If you are interested in Feng Shui or would like to have just a chat about what your thoughts are on your own home, you can find me on the www.floweringhousefengshuiconsulting.com. I also have a Facebook page where you can just put in Flowering House Feng Shui, it will come up. I do weekly posts on the Facebook page just with some kind of interesting quotes or interesting, at the moment I'm doing quiz, so you can have a look there if you would like, and you can also give me a call or just send me an email, and all the informations are on the website.
Wonderful. It's been I've loved talking because I knew nothing. I knew nothing. So this has been fascinating. Forget everybody else. It's been fascinating for me.
That's good.
Well, can people just email you on that, and they'll be able to? You'll give them a few questions, and you'll be able to help them a little bit, even without being in person.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Great.
Absolutely. If they do want to email me, if you just email info@floweringhousefengshui.com, then yeah, I'll get back to you.
Perfect. Wonderful. Any last questions? No, right, Michelle John. I know some of my ailments are related to my home. I'm a bit of a collector, but she's got a little monkey. But I now know to get rid of things that hold bad memories because they hold energies of that time or person in life.
They can, yes. And also, if you do not have any more space within your collections of, any items you might be collecting, you're not really leaving space for new things to come your life, and also not new things in your life to happen, or new energies, positive energies. So it's nothing wrong with collecting things, but always make sure you just have that little bit of space in your collection, little bit of space in your bookshelf, or whatever it is that you're collecting. But yeah, absolutely. Again, it's sometimes there is a slight balance between being it a collection and becoming it a clutter. So here and there, maybe once a year, maybe do spring cleaning, just go through the items and see how you feel about them. And maybe there is time for some things to go.
Absolutely. Letting the new energy come in.
Absolutely.
Perhaps you can come and do my wardrobe for me. That'd be great.
Okay.
Right. Have we got time for one more loving this morning chat? Thanks, Feng Shui, mediumship with a combo. Has a lady ever wanted to learn the spiritual side of this? Yeah. So has the lady ever wanted to learn the spiritual side of this?
Spiritual side of this. What do you mean with that? Spiritual side of the.
You mean the intuitive things we've talked about, or?
Yeah. Would you mind
saying? Perhaps you can
clarify a little bit, maybe.
I'm not sure what that means. Are you saying that is there a different thought process that you know of, or something? Psychic intuitive.
I know there are some people that dowse for Feng Shui, like where to place particular items in their home. They actually dowse for it. Again, there's nothing wrong with that, but just to be aware that it's not a Feng Shui in its core principles. It's dowsing in its core principles. And it's nothing wrong with that. It will work for people, but it just works on very different kind of principles and level.
Yeah. I wanted to say one last thing to Stacey. She's giving me a milky tea. She showed me milky tea. She showed me a load of milk.
Oh.
Okay, sorry to break in with you, but I just had to put that in. You just showed me that. Okay, all right. I think if we're all happy, we'll do one more reading maybe, and then we'll wrap it up for the day. All right with that? Is that all right with you, Richard? Yes. Happy with that?
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Another one. Another question.
Well, look, another question. Do your question, then we'll wrap it up after that. Do your question, and we'll leave it.
Any
What's your
advice
question,
what you have at the moment regarding Feng Shui in someone's home? If someone just looked in their room and thought, I want to change, what would be the best thing to look for to change in their room first?
That's a good question. It depends what room it is and why you want to do that.
Let's say the lounge.
The lounge, okay. So we'll be looking at kind of a social side of your life, maybe some family, friends involvement. So we'll be looking at, is there any problem with the communication? Is there anything you want to address from that perspective? So that would be kind of the deeper level I would be thinking about on doing the practical side, but that will be something I will be trying to examine and feel from the people, why they want to address the lunch, what is not working from that perspective. If you did want to change something, just very quickly from very practical perspective, so remember the rule, you stand in the door of your lounge, you look if there is any other doorway in your lounge that might connect to a balcony or a garden, anything like that. That's your path you want to keep clear. If there isn't any door, then you look for your windows in the lounge. Again, it's a visual pathway that you want to keep ideally free. And you want to, for example, if I don't know how big your lounge is, your sofa is, it would be helpful for me to see a picture. But talking from this very general perspective, if you're thinking, for example, to move the sofa around, maybe some shelves, then you would want to put the sofa into kind of biggest quiet corner probably in the lounge, and ideally that is not a directly facing doorway. So same principle when we talk about the feet against the door. That sofa, if you're sitting in it as a person, you don't want the door to be directly looking at you. That would be kind of the best place to have it nicely somewhere in the quiet corner where the conversation can take place. It will not encourage many arguments because it's just a quiet space that is allocated to that, and it allows the movement in another part of the room.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Carry on. Hold on.
Carry on. Wonderful. Just to wrap up very quickly, I have a young boy who's coming through, and he's saying that he died quite young. I feel like he may have taken his own life. He's just come in, and he wants to say that there are still an awful lot of tears in the family around him. Oh dear. He just said to me, "Sweet 16." So I'm just putting it out there but I'm presuming he must have died. He must have passed at this time. Okay. There is quite a lot of suffering as well that goes through the family as well. So he's not the first one to have had some emotional problems. Okay, some concerns there. He's not the first one in the family. Okay. Right. He's giving me daffodils. He would have loved to pick daffodils and to give to his mum. And he's got the big long leaves, and he's just picking them to give to his mum. So I believe this feels like a shout out to his mum at the moment. If anyone can get this message through to his mum, whether his mum is here, can anyone understand the information I've given so far about a boy who took his own life? Okay. All right. If I don't come in with anybody, and let's have a look at the age, about 16, because he come in and he just said sweet 16. Okay. Okay. As he's coming in with a mixed feelings of joy and sadness. There's joy about the happiness that he's got now, the freedom, the feeling of the wanting you to know that he still exists. He still exists, but the sadness of knowing what it caused in the family. Okay. I know a few, but it's not resonating with me on this. Okay. All right. Right. If you can understand the name of Alison, would connect with this boy.
I can take this.
You can take it, my darling, can you?
I can take the suicide, the young boy. His sister's name was Alison. I'm not sure about the tears. He was under the age of 16. He wasn't quite 16.
Okay. Thank you. Are you all right to talk to me, Richard? Or
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. It's just this nosy lot at home listening in.
Sorry, darling.
Right. It's just this that.
Yeah, it's nosy lot. Okay. He's giving me Kipling's. What's it called? The Kipling, the slices. Those slices.
Oh, right, yeah, the cakes. Yeah.
Yeah, the little cakes. Okay. And the name of Leslie as well comes through that he's just given me.
The only Leslie I know is the one who does the meditations on here.
Oh, right. Okay. He's saying that there was a last minute change. So there must have been a last minute change to proceedings to his around his funeral. Last minute changes.
I wouldn't know that.
You wouldn't know that. Okay. He wants to call out. Are you able to connect with his mum?
Yes. Yeah.
He wants to call out to her, and he's saying that he wanted to celebrate Mother's Day. Would you know that he didn't make it to Mother's Day? Was it just before Mother's Day?
Well, he never made it to Mother's Day.
Yeah.
You mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. He died when I was probably about 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. He's showing me a red car now. A red car.
That was my first car.
That was your first car. Thank you, Richard. Okay. Was this? He's saying to me that you thought you felt really proud of this car, and
I thought it was Knight Rider, even though it wasn't black.
Yeah, he's saying you thought you were a business. You know, his words are the bee's knees. Okay. He's coming through quite tall to me.
Tall, did you say?
Well, I mean, when I say tall, I mean he looks sort of like a sort of long legs, and do you know what I mean? Sort of long legs.
That wouldn't make sense. Not with him. No.
Okay, he just
maybe he's saying stand tall, walk tall.
Maybe he's elongating himself, making himself longer and like stretched out. Okay, let's just see if I can understand that for you. Okay, and he wants to give you cheese sandwiches.
I do like cheese, yeah.
Cheese sandwiches. Okay. He's saying don't rush into anything.
Never do.
Don't rush into anything. Are you thinking of taking your skills? And oh God, what's he saying to me? He's saying taking your skills elsewhere.
I've been offered that. I've been given that a couple of times now.
Have you?
Nothing hasn't manifest yet. Okay.
Well, he's putting it to you again, my love. Okay, so just think about that. Okay, right. In my chat, I can see Keith Barnard, and he's one of the words just highlighted that Spirit have highlighted for me is the word evidence. Okay, and investigate. Okay, I know you went on an investigation with Bill and that the other night, but you're definitely going to be doing more of those, and you're going to be taking more of a part in that. Okay, not just videoing it and all that, but I can see you taking more of a part in it. Okay.
That makes sense. We are in
that
June.
Makes sense. Okay. Have you been to Haunted House before?
I've been to loads of so-called haunted houses. I get bored out of my head.
I'm going to give you that because I feel like you didn't connect with that.
Right.
Okay.
No, we've got some coming up in June, which I've just arranged everything for June myself. So yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Wonderful. But I can see you as well sitting around the table and sort of asking questions. You know, not just being the cameraman and you know, but doing more.
Okay.
You've got the kind of. Are you writing a book? Are you writing a book?
No.
Oh my gosh. I've got you writing about your experiences. Okay. I would normally say, oh, I'll take that away, but at the moment I can't take that. I can't take that back at the moment. But I obviously don't want to give you something you can't understand. Okay. All right. Would you understand a blue uniform, a blue school uniform?
No, but I bought a blue suit 2 days ago.
Right. Okay. He showed me a blue suit and I automatically thought it was a blue school uniform because I'm thinking children. So that's my own brain colouring that. So I apologise.
Okay.
Okay. That's not his fault. That's him. It's a blue suit. Okay. Would you know that your dad had one last thing? Would you know that your dad had a thin leg, like a drain pipe leg, thin suit as well? Very similar.
Yes.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's being brought in. Okay. He's telling me one last thing. He's showing me a crown of thorns on your head.
Okay.
Okay. What that means, I don't know. So I'm going to try and get him to understand it a little bit more. Okay. All I can think of is, Jesus on the cross, and having the crown of thorns. I'm going to have to sort of think about this. Come a bit closer for me. All right. If I try and hurry it now, I'm going to be putting pressure on myself. But I would, if I had to put it down now, I would say that it was too much being put upon you.
Yep, that would make sense.
Wearing too much on your head, too much on you all the time, and it's starting to get to a point now where you need to start saying no.
I've started doing that. I've been saying no to a lot of people over the last week.
Okay. All right. I'm going to leave you with, although you said your first car was a red car, I'm going to leave you with a white car. Okay. So I've got a white car to give to you, and it's freedom. It's freedom. You're going off into the off down the track and off down the highway, and there's nothing but you and the breeze.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Are you thinking of a trip to America? Are you going out? Are you having a trip?
I was told that a few weeks ago as well.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah, to do with work related and stuff like that.
Okay. Cool. Okay, Richard. Okay, wonderful. Well, look, I'm gonna tie it up and leave it there. As I'm doing that with my hands, he's shown me a yellow ribbon for you.
Okay.
And to me, that always symbolizes friendship. Because yellow roses. So this is about friendship, remembering old friends. Okay, remembering old friends and holding new close to you.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna leave his love with you and say thank you so much for working with me, Richard.
Thank you, Dawn.
All right, sweetheart.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll let you finish off the show now.
Lovely. Taking up my time, Richard. How dare you?
How dare you?
How very dare you?
Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you. Bless you. Thank you to everyone who has joined in today with today's Spiritualist Psychic TV. And like I said before, you can see our guest, Yitka. You can meet her on Flowering House, fengshuiconsulting.com. Please check her out. It was really, really interesting. And please check out all our shows on our SPtv page, especially the special little areas we have, the lounges we have in there. Check out our shows. Check out our Facebook page. Keep it SPtv. SPtv. That's the little thing. Thanks, everyone. God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.